Thank you, Forest Park. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a great day, the Veterans Memorial Dedication Ceremony. We're thankful for your attendance and the support of this worthy project, which will serve as a lasting memorial for our veterans and as a welcome to Ferdinand. A special thank you to the Forest Park High School Band. Thank you to Seifert Construction for donating the design services and building the memorial. And thanks to Wire Electric for donating the electric work. We also want to thank all those who contributed in some way to this great memorial. You'll see them on the back of your program. Now please stand as we present the colors of our great nation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We'd like to thank Avery Welp, who sang the national anthem. Avery, great job. It is my pleasure to introduce Father Anthony Goven of Christ the King Parish for our invocation. Father Anthony.
Almighty and eternal God, you have revealed your glory to all the nations. God of power and might, wisdom and justice. Through you, authority is rightly administered. Laws are enacted and judgment is decreed. We pray to you, O Lord of mercy, to remember the souls of your servants departed, who sacrificed their lives for our great nation, who are gone before us with the sign of faith and repose in the sleep of peace. The souls of our parents, our relatives, and friends, of those who, when living, were members of this community, and particularly of such as are lately deceased, of all benefactors who, by their donations or legacies, witnessed their zeal for the decency of divine worship and proved their claim to our grateful and charitable remembrance, especially those who work and giving led to the establishment of this memorial. To these, O Lord, and to all that rest in Christ, grant, we beseech you, a place of refreshment, light, and everlasting peace. Amen.
Thank you, Father Anthony. First and foremost, any veteran who joins us today deserves our gratitude for their service. Thank you, veterans, who are at the top of our list of dignitaries. Also joining us this afternoon, Marvin Baglin. Mr. Baglin donated the first U.S. flag, which will be flown here at the memorial. Marvin Baglin was awarded the Living Veteran Award in 2018 by the DuBois County Veterans Council. Mr. Baglin enlisted in the U.S. Air Force in 1952 and was trained at Langley Air Force Base to be a gunner on a B-26 aircraft. He has a storied history with the 8th Bomber Squadron as a B-26 gunner in Korea. His aircraft flew 50 missions from January to July of 1953. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for a night mission in Korea where 6 enemy trucks were destroyed. He was also awarded the National Defense, Good Conduct, and Korean Service Members ribbons, and the Air Medal with 2 oak leaf clusters. Here at home, Marvin Baglin went on as a photographer at Chase Studios. He may have taken your wedding picture or your graduation picture in his 42 years as a photographer. He was a 42-year member of the Huntingburg Fire Department, serving as chief of 14 of those years. He is a member of the Holland American Legion Post 343, Huntingburg VFW Post 2366, the Memorial Detail Honor Guard, and drives the DAV van. He married Jeanette Pfaff in 1952 and has 3 sons, 7 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. Marvin Baglin, thanks for your continued service and the first flag to be flown here at the Veterans Memorial. We would also like to recognize Cletus Libehusen. There's Cletus right there. Cletus is a Navy veteran of World War II, serving from 1942 to 1946. He worked on a ship in the machine department, and he says we were in enemy territory all the time. He took the honor flight of Southern Indiana in June of 2015. Cletus is married to Ardella Bockelman for the last 52 years. Cletus Libehusen has 6 children, 10 grandchildren, and 16 great-grandchildren. Mr. Libehusen is the only living original charter member of the Ferdinand American Legion Post 124. He's 97 years old, or I should say young. Cletus Libehusen, thank you for your service. Please join me in recognizing Joan Verkamp, who's not able to make it here today. Joan Verkamp is the only living charter member of the Ferdinand American Legion Auxiliary. She is 95 years old. Joan, thank you for your time. Next, we would like to recognize Ferdinand Town Council members Debbie Johnson and Ron Wire, and Town Manager Chris James. Someplace throughout the crowd, I believe, different places. Thank you. And seated up front, we would like to recognize State Representative Stephen Bartels, He represents District 74. He too has a storied history as a veteran. As his family, I think everybody in your family almost has been a veteran or is currently serving. Representative Stephen Bartels. Now, we've not recognized all the dignitaries yet, as we'll introduce and hear from them as the afternoon goes along. First of all, please welcome Trey Thomas. Trey is the 10-year-old son of Brad and Jill Thomas. He'll be in the 5th grade for the next school year. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Trey Thomas. And Trey, you are the grandson of Leon Wire, right? Who is this is his dream, this memorial.
This is a special day. Several years ago, my grandpa had an idea, a dream, to build a memorial on this spot. And after a lot of help from so many people, contributions from businesses, organizations, and individuals, this dream is now a reality. We are so grateful for the overwhelming support you have given. It shows that in our part of the world, people still have family values and still believe in God and country. My cousin Jackson joined the Army last September and is currently serving at Camp Humphreys in South Korea. On behalf of all veterans, we sincerely thank you for making this dream possible. Thank you for giving to those who have served and to those who have gave their life while serving their country. Your help will never be forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Trey. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker this afternoon is Ken Sicard. Ken is the town council president of Ferdinand, Indiana, and has served on the council since 1999. Mr. Sicard is very involved in the community through work at church, coaching, membership in the JCs, which goes a long way back, and was one of Ferdinand's first EMTs. Ken is married to Monica. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ferdinand Town Council President, Ken Sicard.
Thank you, Bill. Before I get into my canned speech here, thank you all for coming. This is a fantastic turnout on a great day, so give yourself a round of applause. It is truly an honor to be given the opportunity to speak at this event on behalf of the town of Ferdinand and the Ferdinand community. Today marks a day in the history of the town that will be remembered by many of us for some years to come. It is a day when this small American town and community found a way to honor those who served our country to keep our life free. The people of the Ferdinand community, to my knowledge, have always supported and have always been very proud of the men and women who gave their time in our armed forces. A member of this community, David Nord, is remembered and honored because he gave the supreme sacrifice. Throughout our nation, we have places and memorials that honor those who have served and who have given their all. Locally in Jasper, we have the Veterans Memorial Bridge, while in Huntingburg, we have the Veterans Memorial near the Event Center. Now in Ferdinand, we have a location where we can spend time on hallowed ground dedicated to those who have served and those who have died. As a person who was an Army brat, as a son of a command sergeant major in the U.S. Army who served in Korea and in Vietnam, I have two brothers who served, one who jumped out of perfectly good airplanes, the other climbed into a little thin metal tube and went underneath the seas for numbers of months at a time, and my son-in-law, Clint, who toured Africa with the U.S. Army. This place of honor has special meaning for me. The freedoms we enjoy as Americans have no equal. These freedoms here are here because people have served in our armed forces to keep our country free. People have given their lives to keep our way of life flourishing. In our town, we now have a place to honor these same people. This location, this event, would not have happened without the dedicated determination of one man, Leon Wire. and he had been hiding over here, trying to direct everything. Leon Wire was a person who had a dream. Today, that dream becomes real. With the help of the American Legion, with the Ferdinand VFW, the Ferdinand Chamber of Commerce, and the town of Ferdinand, his dream grew into substance. With the support of many people and companies, both encouragingly and financially, this honorable place has become a reality. We now have a place to honor and remember. In Ferdinand, we start every town council meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. To me, those words carry so much meaning every time I recite it as I stand in front of that flag. So if you would, you can remain seated, but if you would, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Leon, to you and your fellow members of the Ferdinand American Legion and the members of the Ferdinand VFW, on behalf of the community of Ferdinand, I offer you our heartfelt thanks for a job well done. We salute you, Leon. As I stand here, I also see other groups from other communities who are represented here and have served. And to all of those men and women who have served, and to those who have given their all as they defended the freedoms that we enjoy today, on behalf of the town of Ferdinand, thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Thank you, Ken. Now representing District 47 in the Indiana State Senate is Erin Houchin. Senator Houchin is a graduate of Indiana University and George Washington University. She has served Indiana Senate District 47 since 2014, which includes the counties of Washington, Crawford, Harrison, Perry, Orange, and the eastern parts of DuBois County. Senator Houchin is married to Dustin, and they have 3 children. She has received many honors and appointments for service to her constituents, including her appointment by the governor to the Indiana Commission for Women. Now I give you, ladies and gentlemen, Indiana State Senator Erin Houchin.
Well, thank you so much. It is my honor to be invited here today for the Veterans Memorial dedication. I would be remiss if I didn't recognize former Lieutenant Governor Sue Ellspermann, who is one of my mentors in the political realm from right here in Ferdinand. It is a very special day. I want to take time to thank all of the veterans and their families for their service and sacrifice. From the very first Memorial Day, Decoration Day after the Civil War, after a bitter battle, 2 sides came together to decorate the gravestones of the fallen in honor of their memory and the sacrifices and service for freedom. This memorial will have a daily reminder for the citizens of Ferdinand and for folks who travel by of that sacrifice. And I think it's very fitting to have this dedication on Memorial Day. It's my pleasure and honor to be here with you. And I will just end by saying, God bless our veterans, Ferdinand, the state of Indiana, and God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Now we welcome Indiana State Senator Mark Messmer. Senator Messmer is a graduate of Purdue University as a mechanical engineer and is owner of Messmer Mechanical. He and his wife Kim have 4 children. As state senator, Mark Messmer represents the people of the 48th District, including Pike and Spencer counties, and parts of DuBois, Knox, Gibson, and Warwick counties. He is involved in Jasper Kiwanis and is a 4th-degree Knight in the Knights of Columbus. Later, we'll hear Senator Messmer's musical talents, but right now, let's hear his vocal talents. Ladies and gentlemen, I turn the mic over to State Senator Mark Messmer.
Well, thank you, Leon, for the invitation to be here today, and for all those who took the time and effort to put together this Veterans Memorial that we are dedicating today. Many Americans have forgotten the meaning and traditions of Memorial Day. At many ceremonies, the graves of fallen are increasingly ignored and neglected. Most people no longer remember proper flag etiquette. There are towns and cities that still hold Memorial Day services, but many have not held parades in decades. Some people think it's a day for honoring all the dead, not just those fallen in service of our country. I'm here to tell you today that 151 years after the first celebration of Memorial Day after the Civil War, Memorial Day must remain one of America's most cherished patriotic observances. The spirit of this day has not changed. It remains a day to honor those who have died in defending our freedom and our way of life in military service. The men and women who have died fighting to protect this republic, both on American soil and across the world, deserve a day of high honor more now than ever. The freedom that this people in our country still enjoy has never been equaled in the history of mankind. Tyrants across the world that are threatened by the ideals that this country represents now more than ever want to take this country down. The men and women we honor here today understood that and made the ultimate sacrifice. Let's give them the respect and honor they deserve and do all we can do to ensure generations that follow us will continue to do the same. As stated so well by President John F. Kennedy, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. The men and women who have died in service of our country in the military have done so out of love of our country and the ideals that they represent, not what they could expect in return. It is through these brave sacrifices that these military heroes we honor today that made our freedom remain. It's for the love of the ideals that this country represents, that the men and women have been willing to serve and protect what they stand for generations. Let me close this afternoon with one more great quote from President Ronald Reagan. It summarizes so well what we honor today and what we are all asked to continue to do. He said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same. Or one day we'll spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like to live in the United States where men were free." Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Now is my great honor to introduce our keynote speaker, representing you in the United States Senate, Mike Braun. Senator Braun is the founder and CEO of Meyer Distributing and owner of Meyer Logistics. Through his companies, he employs thousands of Americans across the U.S. While his company serves the lower 48 with locations in 38 states, the corporate headquarters is centered in Dubois County in Jasper. He was graduated from Jasper High School, then Wabash College, and acquired an MBA from Harvard Business School. He married his sweetheart, Maureen, in between his studies. A little history: when he returned to Jasper, Mike Braun founded Crystal Farms, which later became one of the largest turkey operations in the Midwest. Senator Braun acquired Meyer Body Company and transitioned to distribution markets. Today, Meyer is a nationwide contender in the third-party logistics business. U.S. Senator Mike Braun has always looked for ways to give back to our communities and to serve us, his fellow Hoosiers. First, as a state representative, then this past fall, Mike Braun was elected to the United States Senate. He won the office by sporting a blue shirt, sans tie, and an attitude that has endeared him to many Hoosiers. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me with a warm welcome to U.S. Senator Mike Braun.
What a pleasure to be here. I never know what my schedule is going to entail, and I can tell you when it's within a half an hour where I live, and on a weekend, I come home every weekend. We'll do that as long as I'm in the Senate. And then I find out that this project has been not going on for that long, and it's what amazes me most about the area we all come from. When we decide to do something, and if it's meaningful and important, it doesn't take long to get it done. You know, faith, family, community, it's what's driven me my entire life. You heard some of the story. The biggest decision I had to make would have been back in the late 70s. After you do live away for a few years and you want to measure what you want to do with the rest of your life. And I must say, for Maureen and me, that was an interesting decision, because when we decided we wanted to move back to our hometown, I remember folks, some said, "What's wrong? Why are you coming back?" I think this is an example of what's right. I mean, where could you live in a better place where faith, family, and community are embodied. I get a little sentimental around Memorial Day because my dad, if he were living today, would be 96 years old. Steve and Sandra know him well because they were at many family get-togethers. He told me very little about serving in World War II until the last few years he was living. And I really didn't put much to that other than he just was an uncomfortable subject. Then I had to think back, 21 years old. I think back when I was 21 years old, I was nestled comfortably at Wabash College. And we were all waiting on the lottery number. We were benefiting from that generation that sacrificed so much. It wasn't until just a few years before he passed away, he said, I wanted to be a pilot. Well, everybody wanted to be a pilot. Most of them ended up being a waist gunner or a tail gunner. He ended up being a tail gunner in a B-17, which was statistically the most dangerous job in World War II. In fact, he told me until they had fighter escorts, within 6 months, it was a death sentence for 80% of anyone that flew on a B-17. Imagine that. That's the kind of gravity that I hope everyone here in the younger generations keeps in mind. None of what we have, faith, family, community, living in a place like we do here, comes without a cost. And the cost is that many, many before us have given the ultimate sacrifice to make sure that we enjoy lives like we have here, where you can build your families, your businesses, exercise your faith, or enjoy a Memorial weekend like I did yesterday, fishing with my son and grandson, and actually catching a few fish. That, to me, is the meaning of what this is all about. And when I heard that this had been talked about and actually taken to pay dirt in really less than a year, I thought that's what makes this county, these communities here in the county, worth coming back to. Anyone that's here that's trying to decide what you want to do in the younger generation, don't overestimate what you've got right here. And don't ever forget about the cost of why we've got it. One thing I like to never go less than a year reading is the Gettysburg Address. Abraham Lincoln penned that hastily. Actually, thought he didn't do a very good job. But if you want to read what embodies what sacrifice is all about, pick up a copy of the Gettysburg Address and always keep it close to you, because words were never written any better than embody what sacrifice is about. It's an honor for me to be your U.S. Senator. When I came back here, that was never in the game plan necessarily. I was on a school board and a state rep for a few years, mostly just enjoying the American dream. And I know that I'll never forget the sacrifice that my dad and others made, and others in many other wars since then. There is a cost to living the way we live, and thank you all veterans in this crowd for putting your lives on the line, risking the most important sacrifice you could ever take. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, the moment for which we are here this afternoon, the unveiling and dedication of the Veterans Memorial. This memorial honors all veterans, past, present, and future, for their service to the United States of America. Veterans are those men and women who served honorably and or are still serving in the armed forces. This memorial is a place of sacred honor for reflection, remembrance, and ceremony. Please make sure your phones have been silenced. We ask that you place your attention towards the memorial as we will unveil the 5 U.S. Military Service Branch Veterans Recognition Stones. If when they unveil your branch, you have served in that branch, please stand for recognition. Sergeant at Arms, take command. First, the United States of America, Department of the Army. Second, the United States of America, Department of the Navy. Third, the United States Marine Corps. Fourth, the United States Coast Guard. And fifth, the United States of America, Department of the Air Force. And at this time, we will have the unveiling of the monument and the laying of the wreath, followed by a 21-gun salute and the playing of taps.
This memorial is dedicated to all men and women, past and present, who have unselfishly given of themselves in service to our country. Let us always show them the respect and honor they deserve. Let us never forget that the freedom is not free, as attested by the great numbers who have paid the ultimate sacrifice. The price for the freedom we cherish.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take a moment to look at the back of your program for the list of donors who have contributed to this worthy project. Without their support, this memorial would not have been completed. Special thank you to Leon Wire and Donna. Your attendance today makes us truly proud. Please take time to walk through and view the memorial this afternoon and/or in the future. Safe travels to you and yours. Thank you.